In part one, we heard how Michael Prince is the birth name for James Casbolt, and how he was taken to a base in Canada near the small mountain town of Nelson in British Columbia for cyborg enhancement as mind-controlled children selected by their specific blood types, on how they were exposed to the open cold night in a large aircraft-style hangar to sort out the men from the boys, just as in ancient Sparta, then guarded by Nazi SS troops in modern-type uniforms in the late 1970s. Michael sent this scan of one of his security clearances. However, in earlier images he sent claiming to be at the Dulcie base, this could be anywhere, so if anyone really knows what these forms refer to, please contact megawatts@blueyonder.co.uk.
Were you when this happened?
This was 76. I was a baby. Yeah, and this carried on. I spent from 76 to 79 there, and grew up there. The Queen Mother as well. She was a programmer there. She would, her face would be flashed on the screen, but her speciality was wolves. Whenever they put the wolves in with us, she would come on. And she'd talk to us, and she would start to change into half woman, half wolf-like face on the screen.
Was this done by some kind of electronic video effect, or?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you name any other animals associated with different other people?
The only ones I remember is George Brasina with snakes and the Queen Mother with wolves. The place was very dark. I'm still starting to. It's difficult to remember everything that happened there. It's still coming back in bits and pieces. I remember being put in the pen and this group of babies, and there were toys put in, and one of the babies took a toy off another baby, and the little baby turned around and hissed at the other child like a snake, and his face sort of went like a snake. So
this was absorbed into them psychologically, or?
Yeah,
into their psyche?
Yeah, and with the DNA anyway, the Anunnaki DNA that the NSA were looking for.
So explain who the Anunnaki are. I mean, there's lots of different versions or different things about the Anunnaki. What is this kind of Anunnaki, or precisely?
That term's bandied around a lot. Our group was, there were Germanic roots, Aryan roots, which I would say connects to Aldebaran in the Pleiades. So I think Anunnaki, I think, is a Sumerian word that just means visitors from the stars or something like that. So I think in our particular group, our heritage was, we discussed this before in the last interview, I think, it goes back to France, Germany, Bavaria, Greece, the Middle East, goes back, and
to Egypt?
Yeah, definitely
Giza?
Connections with Egypt, yeah. The tribe of Dan and Kaish. Yeah, definitely.
So
this is a white race, a white Germanic, Aryan race. I don't mean just blonde hair. So we were being conditioned every day, and
into what function?
Assassins, mainly. Assassins. There was there's psychic things, remote viewing, and that. But it's mainly assassins. Physical soldiers. This is why they wanted the all-terrain attributes.
So just basic soldiering?
Not basic soldiering. Specific operations.
Such as?
Crash retrieval, hunting, tracking aliens.
What kind of crash retrieval?
Ships that were shot down from alien creatures.
So you were specifically dealing with the crashed retrieval of non-human craft?
Yeah, that came later. There was many of them. Tracking alien entities through jungle terrain, desert terrains. Almost smelling them, almost picking up this scent like a.
Even
wolf.
though to the average person, many of these aliens would appear human, would you?
There was all different types. We tracked all different types. There was a wolf type of being, bipedal, humanoid wolf, that like a Bigfoot.
So
We tracked those creatures. We tracked those.
Were they people indigenous to Earth, or were they walk in like through the next dimensional, or?
No, these were physical creatures that physically travelled in ships. There was a landing zone in. There was an NSA facility on the island of Penang. Dense, the Looking Glass facility, dense jungle coverage. Regular physical landings. Ships would come down there. Some of these wolf beings.
Did you ever see the ships? Or?
Yeah, I saw the ships. That came later in the early 80s. If I just can stick to this, what happened in Canada. So we're being conditioned there, and essentially being tortured. It was a trauma centre. So
how did the conditioning function? What happened when you were conditioned? What was done?
Well, they terrorise us. They'd. I remember the guards, these SS uniform guys, would they brought a huge snake into the pen one day, and I think this was some kind of anaconda from South America. You know, it took like 3 or 4 of them to carry it in. You know, this was huge. And they put that in, and I remember a young girl there was involved in the program, in some way about 18 years old, and they fed someone to the snake in front of us.
Alive?
Yeah. It's difficult for me to look at the memory and look at the person, but I know someone was.
In the same way that we'd feed live rats to snakes.
Yeah.
Or live mice.
Yeah.
And what was the function of this?
I think they would break us down, terrorise us, to control us. I saw a lot of that stuff. Saw a lot of people, and later on I saw a young girl thrown in a cage with a wolf, and like torn to pieces. And that was in England later on.
What part of England?
Berkshire.
Yeah. AL499.
Yeah. We had to be under armed guard 24 hours a day at the Q552 because it was there was groups apparently that wanted to rescue us from that, because it's not, you know.
How did you know about that? Did you find out that?
Found out later.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not all powerful or anything like that. It wasn't like a impenetrable facility, you know. A lot of these facilities aren't. You can get in them if you really want.
Yeah.
And bust people out if you really want. We got to 1979 now, and we'd been raised there for those years between 76 and 79, and we were all put in SUVs, convoy of them, to be driven down to another base in America, Dulce, Mexico. Yeah, being transported down to there in a convoy, and I remember we hadn't got that far out of the base. I think we were still in the mountains, and a helicopter seemed to come out of nowhere. Small special forces group came out, and there was a shootout, and some of the guards shot the children. Some of the SS guards shot the children before they could be rescued. Some of the children, but most of us were rescued, and we were brought to a building in Toronto. It was a large building, a skyscraper.
Yeah.
We were brought there to an underground car park there, and the top level of the facility was
Just near Young Street, or?
I don't know where it was. I could try and find out, but I'm not exactly sure. But I know it was in Toronto, and we were.
I mean, downtown Toronto, or?
I know the area that well.
Okay.
I just know it was there was a lot of skyscrapers there, and this was one of a very tall building. We were in the top level of the building. You can look out across the whole area in it, and
How many of them were you?
when we got to the building in Toronto, and we stayed there for a few weeks. I remember sitting in a room. We used to sit in classrooms together there. 15, 20 of us, yeah, about that. So the group that rescued us were based around Com12 in Majestic.
What's Com12?
Com12 is a group centred around US Naval Intelligence, but it's actually a Majestic group. I'm in contact with one of the men who rescued us in America in '79. But I can't say too much about him at the moment.
Right.
Again, another Germanic character.
We're seeing really that this Nazi control, this Germanic control, is very much in control, or are they tolerated within the organisation?
Well, there's good and bad in this faction. I mean, there's a whole Germanic faction which are fighting against the people doing all this evil in the.
So what do we have? What are the two basic good guys, bad guys? Okay, who are the bad guys, so to speak, and what is their aim, and what's their function, and what's the purpose of all that?
I can't simply separate it into two factions. We don't. We run on survival dynamics. What I mean by that is it's about the survival of ourselves, survival of our families, survival of the organisations we work in and our race. That's how we can understand. We don't believe in good or bad.
So ultimately, the good and bad side is essentially you're surviving.
It's us surviving, but then it's not just us surviving. We work on all the survival dynamics. Whereas if a person is abusing children, they're working against the survival dynamics. They're our enemy.
Right.
So this is how we can operate. But we have to have lines and boundaries, or else we won't know who's who, and we won't feel righteous and justified to take military action, which we do on a regular basis. We went through operations there. There were surgeons there, and.
What was the function of those? Because
the surgeons cut us open and found cybernetics inside us. So at the Q552, they'd slowly been cybernating us with surgery. And essentially creating a cyborg soldier. Now, the surgeons at the place in Toronto, they cut us open, and apparently they were like, "What a mess, you know! This is." And they were thinking about trying to remove it, but then it turned out that this technology would integrate it into us. It couldn't be removed. It was actually a natural part of our bodies now.
Is this detectable in any way?
I'm sure it is. You know?
So are you saying that we could somehow, if we booked the relevant place, we could check out your cyborgs? If you went to one of those scanners in at the airports, would they see it? The new scanners? Yeah,
that's interesting. Apparently the bone is a type of metal that I'm not a scientist, but it's something to do with being off the periodical chart. It's not a metal that's known to man, so it won't set off standard metal detectors. I've been told the closest thing we can compare it to on this planet is a mixture of gold and diamond. It's extremely hard.
So you don't know how that works technically?
There's apparently that's the bone, and then there's a small layer of kind of mechanical armour built around that bone to reinforce it further. And
is it sort of grown around it?
apparently that is put in by some it's nanotechnology. The small layer of mechanical armour around the bone. The bone itself is apparently metal, this type of metal, and it's built with nanotechnology. Is apparently they put some like worms or something in you, metallic worms, and they lay eggs, something like that, and it builds it.
Is there a process name there? Is any kind of?
I think it's connected to the name of the Osiris program, the Proteus program.
Right. Is there anywhere we could look that up? Is there any documentation we could look at that?
Not really. No. I mean, I've got information from NSA databases, but it's not documentation.
Yeah. So it's stuff you could look up on the internet as such.
This stuff's never been talked about. Again, they're slowly cybernating these soldiers.
What's the program name involved with that, or where is it happening? How's it happening in other facilities?
It's the umbrella project of IBIS, with numerous projects in that umbrella, including Mannequin. So yeah, these surgeons wanted to remove it because they didn't understand it.
So by removing it, would it cause more damage, so they had to leave it?
This is stuff had integrated into us, so they actually classified a new life form, the scientists, after that. They classified us, they called it ascended, we were ascended machine technology.
Ascended machine technology.
Essentially a cyborg with a soul. And they developed a new law of robotics around us, a new science around us.
Does this develop onto the super soldier program?
Yeah, because they wanted to do things like they wanted to jump out of a plane without a parachute and land in the jungle, in the sea or in the jungle, run 40 miles through the jungle, and then take out your target and be picked up.
Are you able to develop anything more on that story?
Well, this came late to all these operations.
What do you mean by later, in the 80s?
Well, there's so many. I mean, the operation in Malaysia, for instance, that was a jungle warfare operation.
Which operation in Malaysia?
In Malaysia, on the island of Penang. This was...
and on what grounds and what type of military action are you talking about?
The lethal action, assassinations. We're having to take the fight to them.
And who is them? Where would them be?
Well, okay, you want names, you want
places.
We
want some means of graphic.
Okay, 2007, myself and another individual drove up to London. We travelled to South London. It was around the Elephant and Castle area. Now, an SUV pulled up with MI6 operatives in that. We were given a briefcase. The briefcase had the pistol that I've used for years for assassinations, which is a 9mm Smith & Wesson with a pearl handle, and there's a symbol of a black dragon on the handle. And I call that gun Drago. And we were given that briefcase with that pistol. There were these small devices in there, cubes, which kind of artifact. They're very old pieces of hardware.
What do you mean by old? Are you talking about ancient technology?
I think it's an Egyptian connection, maybe thousands of years, maybe older, very old. Looks like little puzzle boxes. small cubes, a bit like a Rubik's cube, with metal around the side and engravings. And they're simply, you hold them in front of your certain energy centers, and you focus your brain waves through them. So if you have...
so are you saying that the handles of the gun or the crystals have got a signature to you so that you can only use it?
Yeah, that's right. The Drago only I can use. I mean, Drago has alien technology incorporated into it, has special types of bullets that have been...
So it's an ordinary bang bang gun?
No, it has special type of bullets that have engravings on them, on the bullets, and a special type of metal. Because when you...
so you are shooting a different type of being?
If you're
not just shooting an ordinary person then?
If you're going to shoot an enhanced soldier or intelligence operative, a Glock 17 is not going to do it. I mean, it's the chest plate's reinforced, the slug won't go through it, all the organs are protected.
So is the bullet essentially going to form a nanotechnology on it that breaks the structure of whatever it's hitting?
I think so, and there's some occult aspect to this with the engravings on. They're apparently these bullets are blessed, but it's something to do with the Vatican, and they
this brings a new meaning to the term Vatican assassin.
Yeah.
So is it designed to go through some kind of psychic shielding of some description?
It's both. It's physical and the psychic aspect.
So it's got to break through some kind of thought-based force field.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the engravings and the blessed by the Vatican.
It's nice to know that the Vatican are blessing us bullets to assassinate other beings. So that by definition, are you saying that the reason why you guys have been modified, brought into being, is because these other enhanced beings are running around the place, or land, or the alien or extra-dimensional beings, or what?
These are the
is
same.
This all terrestrial?
No, these are the same human cyborgs, the same people who were raised in these bases. These are our counterparts. We're all the same team.
So you're essentially...
But these are our dark counterparts who we're warring against.
And that's because they've been programmed by these SS people?
We've all been programmed by the SS people, but we managed to bust out of it. They didn't. That's the difference.
So they've had their programming fully enhanced to a certain level, and then you've had your programming enhanced to try to destroy these other people?
Basically, it's an internal war. Yeah. And when we... the particular guy we assassinated on that night, his name was Dixon Ramey, not his real name, top MI6 operative. I think we got, you wanted to know some of the details about this internal assassin war. Dixon Ramey, not his real name, an MI6 mind control handler. He was my handler in the early 90s. And a handler of many prostitutes, many mind control prostitutes. We arrived at his house in South London, myself and another man, and I walked up the pathway, knocked on the door. A woman answered it, prostitute, MI6 prostitute who was living with at the time, and I used a cube to control her.
Can you describe these cubes? Are the size of Rubik's cubes?
A bit bigger than a Rubik's cube.
That's quite big.
Yeah. You just hold it in front of this energy center here. Just hold it, simple, and then you just talk to them. It's because it connects with a cranial implant. So you just say, okay, let me in. Sit in the front room, sit down on the sofa. He was in the
Where do you store a cube like that?
Well, you hold it in front of you, like that with two hands.
Yeah.
Like that. And then it's just a matter of talking, giving commands. And sit on the sofa. Ramey was in the toilet at the time. The cube had already started to make him submissive when I was in the house. So he just came out the toilet in half trance anyway. I just told him to go upstairs and wait in the bedroom. And he just went upstairs and just sat on the bed and waited for me. And he had a bar there in the front room. And I got the woman to sit down. I got her to pour us a drink. We sat down, and we were looking for pearls. Well, when I say pearls, it's an NSA code name for a suitcase nuclear weapon. He'd stolen a suitcase nuke, and
it's a bit careless of him.
Well, that's what got him shot. And
you then shot him.
So I interrogated the woman about the location. Turns out that this thing's on a boat, a certain boat in a certain location. Once I'd got the location of the pearl, the suitcase nuke.
Is this on the River Thames?
No, it was in an ocean, on a boat, on a yacht. But I won't give the names of the place in the yacht. I had a little radio. I called my associate in, and we went upstairs, and he put a pillowcase over Amy's head, and then I shot him in the face 7 times.
With the pistol.
With the pistol,
with the special bullets.
Yeah.
Is that because he needed the special bullets?
That was my MO, Miles. Several shots to the face on many targets. That was.
Is that to disable the brain functions if, in event of it being a Manchurian, it could continue functioning with one shot? To maybe the other part of the body.
They don't want them to regenerate, and also they want to destroy the evidence of the cranial implant.
Yeah, they have to destroy them
for the autopsy, in case the autopsy went into hands that they can't control.
Yeah. What is your primary function now in talking now?
I'm still active.
What's the main thing you want to get across then? What's your
people need to know this, what's happening. They need to give themselves a chance. Because things.
What do you mean by giving themselves a chance?
Well, things are going to speed up and increase. Oh, this war's underground now, but it's going to burst onto the surface. It's going to burst into the streets, which it already is, but that's going to...
Can you suggest any indications which would illustrate that things are bursting into the streets?
I won't give any examples now, but people know what I mean in the next few years, and I just want to give people a chance.
I mean, there are suggestions that we've all been told that we've been programmed or led to believe that 2012 is happening. There's going to be catastrophic events. So there's a whole pile of major global catastrophic events being programmed by the so-called Illuminati to illustrate this is the end of the world and bang, 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 we're all going to die. You know, the Japanese earthquake that's happened recently. Is that an example of that earthquake? Some people have suggested it was it was triggered artificially, or is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Well, I was in Knightsbridge at the time, and I was contacted. It was just around the corner from Buckingham Palace. I was staying at the Knightsbridge Hotel, and I was contacted by MI6 the night before, an official MI6 email address, and I was told tomorrow there's going to be a terrorist attack, and the guy who contacted me said, "We wish we could stop it." And they called it the Day of Rage. And
because there were a lot of YouTube soothsayers saying there will be an earthquake in Japan on Friday, and there was an earthquake in Japan on Friday.
And I replied back. I said to him, it's another terrorist event. What do you want me to do about it? And then the next day, the tsunami happened in Japan. So it's not a case of all these disasters are coming; they're happening.
They're being made to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the tsunami because it was a lot more than the tsunami. Well, what I'll say about that, and then I'll leave it at that, is people need to research the Battle of the China Gates, Captain Mark Richards. what happened there with the earthquake, what that really was.
The Battle of the China
Battle of
Gate.
the China Gates.
When was that? Or where?
And that was in the late 70s. And then the earthquake there in China killed a huge amount of people. Well, that's all I'll say about that. I've given the name, people can research that themselves. Captain Mark Richards, Joanne Richards.